In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb and Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal, anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb and Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.
And welcome back to another episode of the Blockchain Brew Show. I don't know why my seat is sitting so low. It looked right in the camera a few minutes ago. So that should be a little better here. Okay. So if this is your first time here on the show, welcome to the channel. I'm your host for this morning, Trent, the resident Cardano nerd here on the Blockchain Brew. And we're going to dive into some news, some morning news, some morning charts, and smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel to join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated community on YouTube. Why do I say hydrated? Because on the evening show, we sip on and review a different craft beer every night. It is 10:48 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right now, so I can't. It's not socially acceptable for me to have a beer, but I do have a different kind of brew, a cold brew, and nothing special about it. Just a lot of coffee, a little milk. You know, that's about it. So, GM to you as well, Amelia. So let me turn down the music a little bit. I think I need it locked in. Right about there is a little better, I think. I feel like when I'm running the show by myself, I need the music a little lower because I don't think I'm as energetic as I am in the evening show. It's probably the lack of beer, but or maybe it's just because T Square's not with me, so I don't know. Anyways, let's dive into the news this morning. What is affecting the crypto markets today? Share my screen here. And the first thing we're going to cover is unemployment numbers. Guys, put a +1 in the chat if you like Watch Your Guru. Put a -1 in the chat if you don't like Watch Your Guru. I don't know. It's definitely the fastest X account, the fastest Twitter account to post the news over there. It seems like somehow they're on the button right when things come out. But I have heard of people that don't like them for whatever reason. I forget what the accusations were about, but someone always has something to say about something. But there was some type of like conspiracy or allegation. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I like them over there though. It is very obvious that when you go to their site, Muffhead said got up at 5:30 this morning to check numbers, fell back asleep, just Discord later. For sure. Yeah, I got up this morning as well, but my ended up having to chase my dog around because she got a hold of something, and then yeah, we had a hair dryer flip a breaker outside, and then I didn't realize that it actually was the hair dryer until much later. So I was like outside looking at this breaker. It's been a weird morning for me. Anyways, let's see here. That me saying that shows you how handy I am, right? Which is not very much. I did attempt to guide myself through the process with Grok, though. That was helpful. So, yeah, we're going to come over here to Watch Your Guru and take a look at the unemployment numbers. So, U.S. unemployment rate hits 4.3%, highest since October 2021. So, yesterday we showed you that for the first time since April 2021, there are more unemployed people than there are jobs, than there are job openings. Anyway, sorry, not jobs, job openings. That would be pretty crazy. Now, I did see a post today that said when you constrict the sample population to ages 18 to 24, the unemployment rate is actually like 10.25%. So what's going on with that? What's up, John 316? Good to have you in here. Are we good? We are good. We are good, my guy. We are good. Isn't that crazy though? 4.3%. Okay, but when you look at ages 18 to 24 in the United States, the unemployment rate among that demographic is actually 10.25%. I guess it's not that crazy the more you think about it. In that age group, kids are probably trying to put off work one way or another. I guess you also have a fair amount of college students that are just full-time students, but man, 10.25%, it does seem kind of high. But then again, the overall unemployment rate is trending higher as well. So U.S. unemployment rate hits 4.3%, highest since October 2021. And they have this nice little graphic right here. I can't exactly tell what they're doing, but, it's supposed to be some kind of factory job, I guess. U.S. unemployment rates rose in August 2025 to 4.3%, their highest level since October 2021. Only 22,000 new jobs were added to the economy last month, far below forecasts. Indeed, economists had expected the report to show 75,000 jobs were created in August, with the unemployment rate forecast to rise to 4.3%, according to data from Bloomberg. So, guys, it's not even the percentage rate that was so shocking. It was that we expected 75,000 jobs to be created, and only 22,000 jobs were actually created. I don't think that this alone is responsible for the price action today, because look, the tension in the job market, Muffhead says a population of young males unable to get work, afford homes, get married, start a family, and rising inflation always leads to consequences. Always leads to interesting consequences. Yeah, for sure. Larry Fink was just fired from BlackRock by the dip. Is that true? Oh, he said JK. All right. I was gonna say that's really weird. But Larry Fink is now the new head of the World Economic Forum. Is that right? I think that happened. So, I do not think that this employment data alone is responsible for the price action today, because look, just in my mind, and I can be a simpleton in some areas, okay, but the tension in the job market is a positive sign for rate cuts, right? So if you zoom out past today, if you zoom out to the next 2 weeks, this is bullish because it's confirming rate cuts on the September 16th and 17th FOMC meeting. I think we get the announcement on the 17th. So, you zoom out over a 2-week period, this is bullish. However, there is a tightrope that we want to walk, right? And we want some constriction in the job market to pressure the Fed to cut rates, but we don't want so much constriction in the job market that it induces fears of recession. Okay, so if there is some fear in the market about recession, that could contribute a little bit to the price action we had today. However, I also don't think it did because, well, the timing of the pullback, right? Like, we pumped all throughout the morning, and this data had been out for several hours. We sort of pumped with this data and then pulled back. So I think that the options expiries, which we're going to cover here in a moment, I think that has much, much more to do with today's price action than this job data, in my humble opinion. So, yeah, according to data from Bloomberg, unemployment rate rose to 4.3%. And was expected to rise to 4.3%, which is an increase month over month, though. So again, constriction in the job market, pressure on Fed to cut rates. Another disappointing U.S. jobs report. Over the past 3 months, the U.S. economy has created fewer than 30,000 new jobs. Let me make sure I'm on the screen. 30,000 new jobs on average. The decline led to U.S. President Donald Trump firing the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics in July. Diving deeper into these latest statistics, average hourly earnings rose to 0.3% over the past month and 3.7% over the prior year in August. Wall Street expected hourly earnings to have increased 0.3% over the prior month and 3.7% over last year. August's unemployment report confirmed that the labor market has headed off a cliff edge. Capital Economics North America economist Bradley Saunders wrote in a report on Friday. He went on to add that this jobs report could have an impact on a potential interest rate cut this month, while the weak 22,000 gain in non-farm payrolls in August confirms what already looked like a nailed-on rate cut at this month's FOMC meeting. The limited rise in unemployment rate to 4.3% will curb calls for a larger 50 basis point move. So, what it's saying is unemployment didn't rise so far that we get a 50 bip cut instead of a 25 bip cut. But honestly, again, I think that's probably a good thing, because if we get a 50 bip cut, it's because It's because the Fed is telling you that there are legitimate fears of a recession. Muffhead says all the gains came from part-time work. It's a total disaster. Forget crypto for a second and be worried for your safety of your family. These numbers will be revised again. The Fed has killed us all. Yeah. Full-time jobs, 357,000 part-time jobs. Up 500 and plus 597. Oh, I think he's saying full-time jobs came in at 357, while part-time jobs came in at 597,000. Yeah, that is an issue too. That is an issue too that we don't think about. How hard is it becoming for families to support themselves on one full-time job? Oh, full-time job negative. Okay, wow. So, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We want the tightrope. Like I said, a 50 bip cut could have been really, really bullish. I don't know, but it could have also been concerning, right? Because what it would say is that the Fed is telling you that they're afraid of a full-blown recession. Now, you and I know that we are already in a recession, right? But for the Fed to declare a recession, that could be bad for the markets. So let's see here. Furthermore, for the first time since before the pandemic, there are now more unemployed workers than there are job openings. We covered that yesterday. Right, it's for the first time since April 2021, there are more unemployed people than there are job openings. Still, businesses have become more hesitant to hire because of softer sales and uncertainty about how much the Trump administration's tariffs will cost them. A rate cut could slow the decline in unemployment, but August's decline is especially of concern with schools reopening and educational employees returning to work. Yeah, that's true too. So, this last month's data would have shown classified workers in school districts, classified instead of certificated. I'm saying that right? Yeah, classified workers. A lot of people in maintenance departments or bus drivers who are actually technically unemployed during the summer, right? And then you add all those jobs back to the numbers, and the numbers were still trash. So, yeah, didn't make a dent at all. In other words, next up, we have this article here. Now, if you guys have coins that you want me to look over, you can go ahead and start dropping those in the comments at any time. I'm going to move to the charts right after this article. The Fed might cut, crypto may pump, your neighbors are going to end up in the streets. Who cares if you are rich if the world burns? Who wants to drive a Lambo through burned ruins? Guys, this is true. I'm going to be honest. This is a point that everyone in the crypto bubble needs to really, really take to heart. Honestly, part of why I like Cardano so much is because the ethos is so much about making the world a better place. And, if I back a Lambo out of my driveway, but there's not enough money in the economy to fix the streets, and I'm driving Lambos over potholes and driving my Lambo through land pirates on the sides of the streets that are that are carjacking. I mean, yeah, it's quality of life is not just about your pocket, right? Is what Muffhead is saying. Like, quality of life is also about your neighbor doing well. It's also about your neighbor being fed and your neighbor being taken care of. Which reminds me a little bit of the parable of the Good Samaritan, right? Jesus says, he illustrates this parable, and the takeaway from the parable, the man asks Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" Um, and the point is that your neighbor is the one that you find along the as you travel down the road, the one that you find along the side of the road, beaten and hungry. And man, if we have money in our pocket, carjacking sounds like ADA ecosystem. If we have money in our pocket, but society is crumbling, like, it doesn't do a whole lot for your quality of life. You're better off taking that money if we had a full-blown implosion, which I don't think that we're gonna get quite yet. But if we had a full-blown implosion of society and runaway inflation like Venezuela, guys, you're better off, rotating all of your cash into Bitcoin and moving to Thailand, So, yeah, there's a balance. We got to walk a tightrope. Like, we want crypto to pump, we want rate cuts to pump crypto, but we don't want it to be because, like, society is just burning down, right? That's not good for anybody. So, there we go. Let's see here. Options expiry. $3.38 billion in Bitcoin options expiry raises concerns of September volatility. With $3.38 billion of Bitcoin options expiry on September 5th, that's today, price is showing some strength with 1.77% upside. Now, this article was written several hours ago. Now it is increased to $112,500 levels. Analysts are expecting September to be a month of subdued volatility and weaker performance, according to historical trends. Bitcoin price jumps amid $3.38 billion in Bitcoin options expiry. Bitcoin leads this cycle of expiring options with a notional value of $3.38 billion. Data from Deribit shows a total open interest of 30,447 contracts. The max pain level, where most of the options are likely to expire worthless, sits at $112,000. Meanwhile, the put-call ratio is 1.41, indicating a bearish tilt and a cautious market sentiment. Amid this options expiry, implied volatility across Bitcoin maturities has rebounded to about 40% following a month-long correction that drove the Bitcoin price more than 10% below its all-time high. Analysts note that traders remain cautious, as shown by a surge in block trading of put options, which make up nearly 30% of today's total options volume. Bitcoin price has gained 1.7% in the last 24 hours, soaring past $112,500 as of press time. Crypto analyst Rect Capital said Bitcoin has now fully confirmed its breakout. He noted that a daily close or successful retest of the $113,000 level would further validate the move and support continued upside momentum. I wonder what Rect Capital thinks after we got that pullback. September uncertainty remains on the radar. Market sentiment is turning cautious, with Greeks.live noting that September has historically been a weak month for cryptocurrencies. Institutional rollovers and quarterly settlements often weigh on capital inflows, they said. The options market in general lacks confidence in September's performance, the analyst observed. With the broader downtrend and crypto equity correction, investors and traders prefer to stay risk averse at this stage. On-chain analytics from Crypto Quant reported that Bitcoin's value days destroyed metric indicates easing selling pressure from long-term holders. The firm noted that if this trend continues, it could provide relief to the market and open the door for a renewed upward move. However, this needs to be backed by strong demand surge. I want to read this as well from CoinDesk. Bitcoin hits $113,000 as Bitcoin dominance approaches 2-week highs of 59%. BTC price recovery has gained traction in the lead upward to Friday's U.S. jobs report. The leading cryptocurrency by market value rose to $113,000, its highest level since August 28th, and recorded its first higher high since the mid-August all-time peak of $124,000, according to CoinDesk data. In technical terms, a higher high has signaled a potential bullish reversal in trend as price surpasses the previous short-term peak. Bitcoin's market dominance, representing its share of the total crypto market, also climbed to a 2-week high of nearly 59%, up from a low of 57.5. It points to renewed capital inflows into Bitcoin, a shift from recent market dynamics characterized by whales rotating out of Bitcoin and into Ether. Ether, I don't even know her. Max Payne led bounce. Bitcoin's price bounce from Asian session lows may have been catalyzed by the Max Payne theory, which suggests that price gravitates toward the Max Payne level as options expiry nears. Bitcoin options worth $3.28 billion expired at 8 UTC time on Deribit, with Max Payne at $112,000. It is the price level where options buyers suffer the biggest loss. According to the theory, as expiry nears, option sellers, typically institutions with ample capital supply, look to push the spot price toward the Max Payne point in a bid to inflict maximum pain on options buyers. They do so by trading the underlying asset in the spot futures market. Bitcoin's price rose above $112,000 early Friday in the lead up to the expiry, aligning with the Max Payne theory almost perfectly for the first time. The Max Payne theory is widely discussed and considered valid in traditional markets, where it's used to anticipate price movements near the option's expiry. However, some crypto pundits remain uncertain about whether the theory operates effectively in the Bitcoin market. So, guys, here's what is going on there. When you have an options expiry coming up, you have you have puts and calls, right? Which are kind of like longs and shorts. These are bets on what the price is going to be at the end of the options period. So when the options expire, if the price was closer to your bet, whether bullish or bearish, you make money when that contract expires. Now, the Max Payne point is the strike point where most contracts expire worthless. And it's usually right in the middle of the bullish and bearish bets. Not always. It would depend on if there's like an equal 50% of puts and calls in the market, right? So if there are like exactly 50% of the bets on either side, then the strike point or the point of Max Payne would be right in the middle of those prices, because it means neither the bulls or the bears made money on those options, right? So the Max Payne point today was $112,000 for Bitcoin, which we came and cracked that level, and basically options expired at the Max Payne point. So options buyers experienced Max Payne. My theory, which, I'm kind of a simpleton in a lot of ways, but my theory is that once Max Payne hit the options market at 112,000, then a lot of those players sort of went to the derivatives market to make that back, and maybe shorts overwhelmed longs in the short term. Scalp shorts overwhelmed scalp longs in the market, and we saw that dramatic pullback, that big 1 hourly red candle. And then so there is just one more thing that I want to show before I look at the charts. Whoever this person says he says, it came to me in a dream. Bitcoin will linger around 109 to 112 for 7 to 10 days. But then Uptember begins. Why? Bitcoin is Max Payne. Max Payne is the opposite of what people expect. People expect September to be the worst month. Nope. M2 money supply and gold price keeps rising. Guys, both of those are at an all-time high. Gold keeps hitting all-time highs. M2 money supply just hit an all-time high. And guys, Bitcoin is going to follow those prices, with a delay of a few weeks. Rate cuts in week 3 of September. You won't stop stacking Bitcoin, and neither will I. 119 to 123K soon, before the hottest quarter of the year fires off, Q4, October 1st. And if I go to our profile here, I believe I liked another, or maybe I shared it. Yes, right here. So, look, along with gold hitting new all-time highs, we have US M2 money supply, China M2 money supply, European M2, and Japanese M2. Now, if you look at the US and the European M2, you see this dip right here in the M2 chart prior to blasting up toward another all-time high. Now, this dip down corresponds with the dip that we saw in Bitcoin, heading from 124K down to 107. So now that M2 is actually hitting new all-time highs, well, Bitcoin is likely to follow that within a period of a few weeks. So there we go. Coming over to the charts. I definitely got to clean this up a little bit. Well, maybe not. I'm actually, because I don't feel like redrawing that falling wedge. So I'm just going to find some of these circles to take off the chart. Okay, so what coins we have? We have Pepe, AVAX, Bitcoin ETH, and Bitcoin Dominance. Let's see here. Let me check out how our numbers are doing on YouTube this morning. Not bad. 40 views already this morning. That's kind of a better day. This morning slot is competitive because everyone's going live. Everyone's out there posting something. So only 35 minutes in, so far so good. I think we're doing good this morning on the live stream. So cheers to that. And let me pop this up on the screen so people have a reminder to go smack that like button. And more importantly, subscribe to join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated community on YouTube. Let's see here. So what's coming in for Bitcoin? I'll go out to the daily chart. Let me start on the 3-day. Okay, so 3-day, we see stochastic RSI down here at the lows. So it's hard to go down further from there. You can't really go further than 0, right? You have the MACD, call it by its government name, the moving average convergence divergence. Histogram turning from red to neutral. What we would like to see is for this MACD line, the blue line, to start rounding a bottom soon, and then come and cross up above the signal line, which is the orange line. On the 3-day chart, we see that we are still holding this zone, this important green zone that I drew right here, between 109.4 and 104.6 or so. 104.4. Guys, this zone constitutes the previous support resistance flip. The area where previous resistance was flipped into support. So it is very, very important that we hold this zone. And the 3-day is starting to form this sort of doji indecision candle here that can be easily identified by an even wick on both sides, above and below, right? So indecision is one step closer to a trend reversal, right? If we've been going down and then you move from bearish to indecisive, indecisive is now one step closer to bullish, right? Coming down to the daily chart. Now, stochastics have been coming up. I don't like this long upper wick here, but hopefully we can close the day without having such a long wick to the upside. Because what that shows is buyer exhaustion, right? So you don't want buyer exhaustion. That's not a good thing. Now we do have the bullish MACD cross coming in down here, right? MACD line crossing over the signal line with the histogram turning from red to neutral to green. So that's good. Again, we're holding that very important zone. We've broken out of what appears to be a falling wedge with a retest, a very nice retest, might I add, of not only the previous support resistance flip, but a retest of the breakout of the falling wedge. So those are all still positive signs in my opinion. Coming down to the 4-hour. Okay, so 4-hour definitely turned over. We had a bearish divergence on the 4-hour chart, marked by a swing up in price with a swing down on RSI, right? And the stochastic indicator is showing it to you as well. So now the good thing about it is, look at the stochastics. They only got to about 70 before turning over. So it's not like it's all the way up here at 90 and it turns over, right? So, the point is you have less room to run down because it was only at 70 when it turned over. So easy math, right? The distance between 70 and 30 is shorter than 90 to 30. So, it's leading me to believe that I don't think that we're going to have an epic crash today or this weekend. And we're sort of holding a new uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. holding this uptrend right here. So on the 1 hour chart, stochastics are very low. And look, we've perfectly bounced so far off of the 200-hour moving average, the red line. So this is bullish to me. It leads me to believe that, it leads me to believe that the pressure from the 4-hourly bearish divergence could already be playing out. We have these strong wicks off of the 200 period moving average with a bullish engulfing candle so far, until the hourly candle closes. But so far we have a bullish engulfing candle here. And this can bottom out and bounce up. Look, we came down and grabbed liquidity. We liquidated longs to the downside. We can, during a volatile time like this, we can certainly just come right back up and liquidate shorts to the upside. So here, don't take this to the bank because this is just the 1 hour chart. But look, this is sort of hidden bullish divergence on the 1 hour. Oh, no, it's not, because we don't have a swing down in RSI. Sorry about that. But we do definitely have hidden bullish divergence on the larger time frames. The daily and the weekly is playing out beautifully. So, we had this big liquidity pull over here, and it dropped us down. Guys, we could have found a daily bottom. I want you to think about this for a minute. And look, I'm borrowing. I learned some of this from Crypto Lifer, so shout out to him. I want to give credit where credit is due. But think about this very carefully. What is the first step toward making a daily bottom? What's the first step toward making a daily bottom? Well, you have to bottom on the 1 minute before you can bottom on any time frame higher than the 1 minute, right? So if that's the case, if you take that theory into consideration, then a break above the 200 moving average on the 1 minute can be your first signs of a reversal on the daily. Now, that should not be taken in isolation, right? Because you can definitely but look, when you broke above it back here, man, stayed above it pretty good. But you can definitely play games with it. Break above it, fall back below. We're getting bullish golden crosses on the moving average. This is just on the 1 minute, though. But what should this signal you to do? We got back above the 1 minute, back above the 200 on the 1 minute. So now you can go to the 5 minute and start asking yourself the question, okay, when are we going to get above the 200 on the 5 minute? That's going to be your next sign. If we can do that, and right now that's sitting at $111,749. If we can do that, then we're very likely to start chipping away at the rest of these time frames. Look, the 15 minute is even lower, right? That's at, now we did just get a bearish cross, 21 under the 200, but we've come up to meet the 21. Maybe we get rejected here and then try our hand at it again later. I don't know. But where's the 200 on the 1 hour? We actually never fell below the 200 on the 1 hour. So you see where all of this data starts to pull in, right? We have not fallen below we did fall below the 200 on the 4 hour, but that's the larger downtrend that we've been in from 124K. So actually, getting above the 200 on the 4 hour is your signal that we're going back to all-time highs, in my opinion, right? You crack the 200 on the 4 hour, hold above it, you get back to all-time highs, right? You hold the 200 on the 1 hour, and odds begin to grow that you go up and attack that 200 on the 4 hour. And look, so far so good on holding that 200 on the 1 hour, right? We have these tweezer bottoms on the 1 hour bouncing off the 200 with a bullish engulfing candlestick, right? We come back down to lower time frames and we start to ask ourselves, hey, where price is now above the 50, so it can come up here and attack the 100 and 200. We get above the 200 on the 5 minute at $111,742. Then I see us attacking that 200 moving average on the 4 hour. So I think that things look okay. I'm not ultra concerned right now about a further dip to 107. I think that we're going higher, and I think that we're going to recover this liquidity sweep here. So let's look at the Zeno. What is up, buddy? Possible double bottom on the 15 minute. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. So liquidations. See, what we've done so far, and I'm just on the 24 hour. What we've done so far is we've perfectly kind of moved up and then taken down and come down and swept this liquidity down here. And look at how liquidity is thin above us right now. It's very thin above us. That's telling me that we can get a sharp move back up very quickly and start coming back to attack these areas of liquidity up at 114. And again, we break and hold 114 on the 4 hour. We go back to new all-time highs, in my opinion. Let's zoom this out to the week. Yeah, same kind of story here. We came down, swept liquidity, but there's still this block sitting above us, just under 114. And we go to the 2 week. Again, the top of the CME gap is, it's no longer the largest block. Okay, the largest block is this chunk here, right around the 114 level. But again, if we get above and hold above 114 on the 4 hour, I think we go back to all-time highs, which means that we eat through this liquidity at 117, which is the top of the CME gap. So, guys, I think the odds let me come back to the chart, share this tab instead. I think that the odds are greater that we break this high before we break this low. I think the odds are greater that we break, 114 and then break 117 before we break 107, in my opinion. Because it looks like we have started a new uptrend. Higher highs and higher lows, right? We broke a long downtrending line of resistance. And now we're forming a new uptrending line of resistance. So, yeah, that's what I see happening. Let me move over to Ethereum. And Ethereum on the 4-hour, playing games with that 200 moving average right now, but that doesn't concern me as much because we have this important green line down here that's going to provide support. Why is that important? Well, let me zoom out to the daily. And when you zoom out to the daily, you see that it's coinciding with the 50-day moving average. We're actually, so far so good, we're holding above the point of control even. But if we lose the point of control, the next big area is this green line, which coincides with the 50-day moving average. Stochastics are very low right now on the daily for Ethereum. So the odds that we fall through this with low stochastics is not that great in my mind. We come out to the weekly, and what we find for Ethereum, I've been saying this over and over again, like a broken record, this green line is so important because it represents a level just above $4,000 where Ethereum has only spent about 13 weekly candles in its entire history above this area. And when we did spend time above this area in 2021, the 21-week moving average was blasting off, and it was getting closer and closer every week to rounding a top. Well, fast forward to now, the 21-week moving average has just rounded a bottom, and it's making its move up. So, the moving average bands are just now starting to fall in order. We had a bit of bearish divergence come in here for the stochastics. But what that is translated to is red and sideways, not red and crashing through the floor. So, guys, I think that this green line holds, in my opinion. This is knowledge. Thank you, Zeno. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll come show you guys. Let me go to Ondo real quick. I'll show you what my trade is doing. Okay, so right now I am back up about $30 or so. What happened with my trade that I went in on yesterday was basically let me show you where I took it over here in the Discord. So I took I took this signal right here in the Discord. I'll zoom out so you can see it. I took this trade right here in the Discord. It signaled it like 2 days ago at 10:43 p.m. So Ondo USDT, I went in on this yesterday, and I was up when we were moving up this morning. I was up about $150 in short order. And then I moved my stop loss up to break even, and we had that big liquidity sweep, and it came down and it found my stop. It hunted me down, it found me, and it took me out. But the beauty of that is I moved my stop to break even, so I didn't lose money. When we saw those big red candles coming in, everyone was scrambling to try to figure out if we were going to go lower, and I didn't have to worry about how much time I was going to spend down in the trade because it hit my stop at break even. So what I was able to do was just start asking myself, do I re-enter or not? And I did choose to re-enter. I did get a lower re-entry than the first time, very slightly. It would have been nice to have gotten an even lower re-entry, but I got what I got. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, right? And so I stopped out at break even, and now I'm back up $30-40. And so we will continue to see how this plays out, but I do feel good about it. And guys, if you haven't seen these VIP signals in our Discord, the bot, the VIP bot in our Discord's in the description, and you can get in the Discord for free for a limited time. Now, what you'll find in the Discord is that these VIP channels are from the BidFi bot. BYDFi is our exchange partner of choice, and what the bot does is it aggregates trading activity from the top ROI traders on the BYDFi exchange. It aggregates all of that trading activity, and then it summarizes that activity and then pumps it out into the Discord in the form of scalp signals, swing signals, and market analysis. Sometimes these scalp signals will turn into swings, sometimes scalps will turn into swings, But there's something in here for everybody. The way that you can get access to these signals is simply by creating an account with BYDFi with our link in the description and depositing at least $100 into your futures account. You come over here in the Discord and enter your user ID from your BYDFi account, and then it gives you access to all of those VIP signals. What do you get when you sign up for BYDFi with our link? You create an account and get a $1,000 trading bonus when you deposit $5,000 worth of assets. No minimum trading required. I gotta share this tab instead, sorry. No minimum trading required, simply deposit and start trading with your bonus. So when you deposit $100, you get a 60% bonus at $60. When you deposit $500 worth of assets, you get a $100 bonus. That's a 20% bonus. And when you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus. Finally, deposit greater than $5,000 and get a $1,000 bonus. Guys, if you are not in a position to be trading with your own capital, then simply deposit, get your bonus, withdraw your own capital, and just trade with your bonus. This is free money to trade with. You don't have to on a lot of exchanges, you have to meet a certain trading volume in order to get the bonus. This is simply a deposit bonus. You deposit, you get the money in your bonus wallet. And there you go. And, it's not to my advantage to tell you to withdraw because we get commission on trading fees. So sure, I would like you to trade with everything that you deposit. But if you're not an experienced trader, I don't want you to get liquidated either. I want you to live to trade another day, right? So, if you have no business trading with your own capital because you're not experienced, just get your bonus and learn how to trade with that bonus. So there you go. Let's see. What are we charting next? I did Ethereum, and I was asked for Pepe and AVAX. I was also asked for Bitcoin dominance. So I will show Bitcoin dominance real quick. Share this tab instead. BTC .d. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance has looked to make a little bit of a relief rally here. So far, it's getting rejected off of the 21-hour moving average. Let's zoom out. Here's the 4-hour. I don't see it regaining the 200. I don't see it regaining the 200 moving average on the 4-hour, and that's at 59.45%. The stochastics have already made a top up here, as it's been attempting a relief rally. Come to the daily, and we are rejecting off of the 21-day moving average for Bitcoin dominance with high stochastics. So you could also say that this is a bear flag. We have the right. You can also say that this is a bear flag here. This long move down with the flag out at the bottom for Bitcoin dominance. So if I move my chart up and I take the measured move, that measured move is sending us down to about 54%. So, if I'm a betting man, I see this as a bear flag. Just like welcome in to @Yod. If this is your first time here on the channel, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel to become part of the Brew Crew, the most hydrated community on YouTube. I say hydrated because we enjoy a craft beer every night on the stream. And sometimes you might even get some drunken TA. Now, it's not socially acceptable for me to drink at 11 a.m., but I do have a different kind of brew with me right now, a cold brew. So welcome in. We might not be the biggest, the best, or the brightest crypto community on YouTube, but we are definitely the most hydrated. So please subscribe. YouTube is a hard grind. There we go. So back to Bitcoin dominance. I do see this as a bear flag because let me go look at YouTube numbers real quick. Sorry about that. Guys, not a bad stream for the morning. To be honest, we're doing pretty good. It's a competitive slot here in the morning. So I do see a bear flag right here. Just like I saw this as a bear flag up here. Right? So we made that bear flag, dropped again. In my opinion, we're forming another one with a target lower at 54%. So there you go. What was I looking at next? What was the chat asking for? All in on ETH. I think that's a good move, Yad. I believe that is a good move. I'm pretty much all in on Cardano personally, but ETH is about to rip. It really is. Let's see here. Zeno is hitting Brett again. Of course he is. I'll look at Brett. Zeno says I'm spot all in Solana. That's okay. I still like you, Zeno. So I'll look at Brett for Zeno, and then what did Real Meta ask for? AVAX and Pepe, if we have time. Let's see here. Brett. Where's Bretty Boy? What is Bretty Boy up to? So on the daily, Brett has lost the 200-day moving average. However, stochastics are low. MACD, call it by its government name, the moving average convergence divergence. The MACD could be looking around the bottom here with a move on the histogram from red to neutral, but it's been real indecisive. You know, see it goes red, neutral, red, neutral, red, neutral. So, but indecision is what? One step closer to bullish, right? If you've been bearish, then being indecisive is a step closer to being bullish. You know, what you don't want to see on the daily for Brett is for, you know, this white line to cross the red line, for the 21 to cross under the 200. So it's something to watch out for. I don't know if I would have entered a long so aggressively, but sometimes aggressive pays off. You know, you don't know till you know. 4 hour. I'm gonna reset this chart. See, if we play around with some trend line right here, you could say that we're breaking a downtrending line of resistance and retesting it. It's not super clean though. I don't love it. You know, and look, we have been consistently making lower lows here on the 4 hour. You know, and this can be the moment that reverses, but look, this is still a lower high. It's a very tight range, but look, a high, a lower high, a lower high, and yet another lower high. Barely, right? And you have lower low, lower low, lower low, and lower low. So, you know, and stochastics are high right now. on the 4 hour. So I would want that trend to break before I felt really good about a long, personally. Now on the 1 hour, you have low stochastics, getting rejected off the point of control. I think if you can break the point of control at 0.054, then you can look to a move up to the 200 moving average on the 1 hour at 0.046. I don't know. I don't love a long here until we now look, the 21 is rounding, but the 21 has started to round every time you made a lower high in this period. I just think you got to break. Now look, you're attempting to when you look at the 1 hour. Today could be the day. I can't say it's not, but see this red wick right here was definitely an attempt to break this downtrend. When you come down to the 1 hour, you can see it more clearly. You can see that these candles up here that were rejected off of the 200 moving average, you can see those candles as an attempt to break this downtrend. But will it do it or not? Will it do it today? I don't know. So do you go under this previous high or this previous low at 0.0327? Personally, I don't think so. Not with low stochastics right now. So, I mean, if your liquidation is under there, maybe you're good. But depending on how much levy you're using, you're like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't love the entry, but look, it can turn your direction. It can. Look, these candles up here were definitely an attempt to break the downtrend. So does it go back and attempt it again? Probably. So it can turn your direction. I don't know. September has not been as bad as they said. Yeah, I don't think so either. Look, September was bullish last year, and the reason why it was bullish was Fed rate cuts, which we're getting again after a long period of pause. 5x leverage, stop loss at 0.042. Good job on using a stop loss. Like if you're gonna take calculated risks, then they have to be calculated risks. And if you're calculating them and breaking a previous bad habit of not calculating them, then look, you're growing as a trader, and that's good stuff. Props to that. Put a +1 in the chat if the Brew Crew is proud of Zeno. So let's see here. What else was I? Okay, AVAX and Pepe. AVAX and Pepe. AVAX and PP. And shout out to John316. I definitely want to do that thing where I come on your channel and talk Bible and gospel and theology and Jesus. Sounds like a wonderful time of fellowship. So let's see here. AVAX. AVAX on the daily. You know, unlike a lot of coins on the daily, AVAX is above its 200-day moving average, and it's touching the 21. So, hey, above the 200, touching the 21 with relatively low stochastics means that I don't hate along right here. I think it could do well. You know, on the 4 hour, you're trying to start making higher lows. Could be. You know, you wicked very strongly off of the 200 and the point of control, and stochastics are low. So I'm seeing some good signs there. I mean, in my opinion, you come back and attack this green line at $25.42 before you break this low down here at $23.23. So it's my opinion. And then what was the other thing that he asked for? Oh, Pepe. Pepe. On the 4 hour, MACD has turned bullish for the moment. Let me look at the 1 hour. Okay, 21 is curving up. Stochastics are low. I think you make a run back here at the 200. If you break it, then we probably go higher. On the daily for Pepe, you know, it lost its 200-day moving average, kind of like Brett. So meme coin's doing some similar things here. MACD is trying to turn bullish on the daily. And Stokes are low. You don't, man, this is in such a similar position as Brett. And you know what? I don't know if I missed this on Brett, but I'm just seeing it right now. Are we making sort of a fractal here? Right? You know, we had this and we broke out bullish. So are we going to, you know, that symmetrical triangle. So are we making another symmetrical triangle? And we're going to come break bullish out of that. I don't know, just something to think about. I think that you have a potentially strong double bottom right here, and you probably make another attack at this 21 and this downtrending line of resistance. You probably do come back and attack that again. So, hey, there we go. Anything else coming up in the chat here? I think that about wraps it up for this morning for me. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. Let me look at YouTube numbers one more time. Yeah, thanks for the support. Thanks for jumping in. Like, subscribe, share. Check out links in the description. Discord, BYDFi, Caleb and Brown. Cheers to the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. Peace. And I'll play the outro. I'll play the intro videos as outros just to get some more watch time here.
In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb and Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal, anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb and Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.